Welcome to Bridges here at cbrc.tv. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all our viewers around the world.
Hi, good evening, Dr. Evelyn Songko at sa mga viewers ng ating Bridges. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Again. And hello, good evening, good morning, or good afternoon to our viewers on Bridges here on CBRC.
Welcome to Bridges here at cbrc.tv. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all our viewers around the world.
Hi, good evening, Dr. Evelyn Songko at sa mga viewers ng ating Bridges. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Again. And hello, good evening, good morning, or good afternoon to our viewers on Bridges here on CBRC.tv.
Welcome to Bridges here at cbrc.tv. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning to all our viewers around the world. I am Evelyn Songko, and I'm your host this evening. Together with me is Attorney Dwight Ramos. And actually, this show is brought to you by the College of Accountancy Alumni Association and the USTAAI Alumni Association. So, Attorney Dwight, I don't know if Attorney Dwight is ready now. Hello, Attorney Dwight.
Hi, good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, Miss Evelyn, and to all our viewers worldwide. So I'm happy to be back and here at Bridges.
Wow, last Sunday na-miss mo ba ako? Na-miss kita. Kasi wala tayong show last Sunday, di ba?
Yes, but of course we had a very nice occasion last Sunday naman to celebrate.
Yeah. Oo nga talaga. I was so touched sa Mass which launched the 500 YOC. Nakakatuwa, di ba? Nakakatuwang pakinggan yung mga sinabi ni Pope Francis at saka ni Cardinal Tagle. Talagang natouch ako sa kanila. At saka, alam mo yon yung naririnig mo, Filipino songs in Vatican. Diba? Ang ganda.
At all praises sila, of course, sa mga Filipinos and sa mga OFWs natin.
Oh, that's true. Oo nga, sila talaga yung parang missionary din, ano? Sharing in the evangelical work of the church. Ang dami nga din, nakakatuwa. Pero tonight naman, babawi tayo because we're going to have a conversation about a very important thing that every citizen should know. Ito yung, syempre, taxes. Buwis.
Oo naman.
Oo. Napakahalaga nito sa buhay. Yeah. Napakahalaga nito sa buhay natin. Oo. Diba?
Yes. Because it's the time of the year again.
Oo. And of course, alam ko, you know very well our guest. Diba? Matagal mo rin siyang nakasama. Kaya, ikaw na yung magpakilala, Attorney Dwight. Okay ba sa'yo? You can introduce her now.
Okay. Naman, syempre. Always my pleasure to introduce our special guest, especially tonight, na kasama natin siya sa UST Faculty of Civil Law. And of course, sa tax practice, kilalang kilala rin siya because she served as an assistant commissioner of the Bureau of Internal Revenue. And we're talking about none other than Attorney Eufrocina M. Sacdalan-Casasola. Or to us, simply Attorney Frocy is our guest tonight. Yes, she has to come in, but yan. So Attorney Frocy, good evening.
Good evening, Attorney Juan.
And good afternoon, yes.
Good evening, Dr. Evelyn. At magandang gabi sa ating mga manonood dito sa cbrc.tv.
Yes. And
welcome to the show, Attorney. Yes, Attorney Frocy.
Yes.
Yes. And
Yeah. Welcome to the show.
Yes.
Yes.
Salamat. Maraming salamat.
She's an expert on the subject of taxation, and she graduated from the UST Faculty of Civil Law, and she has been a professor, lecturer, and bar reviewer on taxation law in various universities and bar review centers, and a pre-bar reviewer also, taxation law UST, of course, and she teaches taxation law in the University of the East Graduate School of Business. She has published several books on taxation. Attorney Casasola or Attorney Frosty was the Assistant Commissioner of the Bureau of Internal Revenue until she retired. And she served as treasurer of our association, the UST Law Alumni Foundation, for 6 years. That was from 2014 to 2020. So let's all welcome Attorney Frosty tonight.
Thank you. Maraming salamat.
Attorney.
Welcome.
Attorney Frosty, nako, alam ko maraming matututunan ang ating mga viewers dito sa ating pag-uusapan ngayong gabi. Kasi taxation Maraming gustong makaalam kung ano ba yung mga tamang pagbabayad ng buwis. Kasi ito malaki ang maitutulong sa ating pamahalaan. I think unang-una nating pag-usapan yung mga iba-ibang klase ng mga buwis. Di po ba merong mga ganong classifications? Can you tell us what are the different kinds of taxes?
Actually, we have two big groups of taxes here in the Philippines. First, we have national taxes, and the other one is local taxes. The national taxes are being collected by the Bureau of Internal Revenue, and these are income taxes. Then we have estate and donors taxes, the value-added tax, the other percentage tax, the excise tax, and documentary stamp tax. These are the only taxes being collected by the Bureau of Internal Revenue. On the part of the Bureau of Customs, they collect the taxes on importation, and we call it tariff and customs duties. Now, on the part of the local government, each local government unit in the Philippines, like the provinces, the cities, and the municipalities, also collect taxes. And these are the local government taxes and the real property taxes.
Ganun pala po yun. So there are three groups also that collect taxes. National government, yung Bureau of Customs, and then local government. I see. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, Attorney Dwight?
Yes, and of course, kaya naman natin pinag-uusapan ng taxation ngayon it's because it's already the tax filing season. Malapit na because it's already April, and alam naman natin kahit may pandemic, kailangan itong obligasyon natin to file our returns and pay our taxes still applies. So, punta tayo sa income taxation that Attorney Frosty mentioned to us. Attorney Frosty, pwede ba bigyan mo kami ng knowledge about the income taxation that we should be paying?
Actually, may bagong memorandum na inilabas ang Bureau of Internal Revenue at ito ang RMC 4-2021. Ito ay tungkol sa filing of the annual income tax return and the payment of the income tax. So meron tayong tatlong paraan ng pagpa-file ng income tax return. We do it by electronic filing and payment. Then we also do it by EFTS. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng EFTS? That is electronic filing and payment system. And yung hindi qualified doon sa dalawa, sa electronic filing and the electronic filing and payment, sila ay mapupunta dito sa manual filing, especially yung mga bagets na hindi marunong mag-file ng electronically, dito sila mapupunta sa manual filing. So how do we do this? Meron tayong tinatawag na electronic BIR forms na makikita natin dito sa website ng BIR. So they have to download that EBIR forms and fill it up electronically sa kanilang mga computers. And then magbabayad sila through the AABs. The AABs are the authorized agent banks. Now, yung walang AABs sa kanilang lugar, pwedeng magbayad sa RCOs. RCOs are Revenue Collection Officers. Meron ding paraan ng pagbabayad sa e-pay or e-pay through the e-payment portal of the BIR by clicking the e-pay and pay through GCash or PayMaya. Social na ngayon ng BIR.
Oo nga.
Meron na mga GCash na gano'n. So, ang pangalawa ay yung electronic filing and payment system. Hindi ito ginagamit ng marami. Ang nagagamit nito ay yung mga large taxpayers, yung top 20,000 private corporation, yung top 5,000 individuals, yung mga NGAs, national government agencies, yung mga enterprises enjoying fiscal incentives, and the top taxpayers. So, mayroong yung sa EFPS, kailangan mo bang magpa-register or magpa-enroll sa bangko para ikaw ay makapagbayad doon sa EFPS. Alright. So, yung hindi lahat qualified dito, magbabayad sila through manual filing. Ano yung manual filing? Susulatan natin ang ating mga forms at either kukunin natin yung doon sa EBIR forms or doon sa totoong form ng BIR. So, susulatan natin manually and magbabayad din tayo manually sa bangko, sa AABs. Now, the BIR, however, is encouraging everybody to file electronically their returns through the EBIR forms. Especially now na pandemic, hindi tayo pwedeng lumabas na lumabas. So, nasa bahay lang tayo, makakapag-file tayo at makakapag-pay din tayo. Okay? Yan ang nakasaad dyan sa RMC 4-2021.
Oh, I see. Yun po pala. Bago lang po yung RMC-2021. Bago lang po. This year lang yon. 2021.
Nakalabas lang po ngayon yan, 2021. Ngayon lang.
Oh, I see. So, dati po hindi electronic. So, ngayon, pwede ng electronic. Yung individual, yung income tax return ng individual, pwede na pong electronic yon.
Pwede na po.
See.
Although matagal na lang, every year kasi nag-i-issue ang BIR ng circulars para paalalahanan ang mga taxpayers na ito ang mga paraan kung paano magpa-file ng income tax return.
Yan. So kailan ang deadline nito?
Ang maganda kasi hindi na sila mag-uunahan doon at pipila, 'di ba? Attorney
Yes, mahirap po sa bangko kasi ang daming tao doon.
Correct.
Ang tanong ni Attorney Dwight kung hanggang kailan?
Yes,
ang pagpa-file ng income tax return, meron po tayong deadline hanggang April 15, 2021. Now, wala pang sinasabi ang Bureau kung mag-e-extend ba, pero wag tayong maghantay kung mag-e-extend sila or hindi. Kasi kung hindi sila mag-extend, tayo ay malalate. So pag na-late tayo ay mape-penalize. Mahirap yun. Okay.
At computation naman nito.
Yeah.
Yung pagko-compute ng income tax. Now it depends, the computation depends on whether the taxpayer is a pure compensation income earner or a minimum wage earner or a purely self-employed individual or professional or a mixed income earner. Magkakaiba po ang paraan ng pagko-compute ng income tax return ng mga individual taxpayers under the train law. Ngayon lang po inilagay ito sa train law noong starting 2018. So binago ng train law ang pagbabayad ng income tax return ng mga income tax ng mga individuals. So let's start with the computation of the taxable income of a pure compensation income earner. First, actually, yung mga pure compensation income earners, pwede silang hindi mag-file ng return if they are qualified to the substituted filing. Ano bang tinatawag na substituted filing? Ito yung pag ikaw ay pure compensation income earner tapos isa lang ang iyong employer and kasi nag-withhold ang employer natin ng ating withholding tax, pag nag-equal yung withholding natin sa kayong tax due, wala na tayong babayaran. So kung wala tayong babayaran, hindi na tayo magpa-file ng income tax return. So, hindi sila na kailangan mag-file. But, yung mga hindi makakomply dito sa requirements, kailangan silang mag-file ng income tax return. Kaya ano bang form ang ginagamit? Gumagamit sila ng Form 1700. Okay. So how do we do this? We need to determine first the gross compensation income. Then we deduct the mandatory deductions. And what are these mandatory deductions? We have the here in the our employees' contribution in the GSIS or SSS, the PhilHealth, the Pag-ibig, and the union dues. So, ibabawas natin yon. Plus, meron tayong tinatawag na de minimis benefits, the 13th month pay and other benefits in the amount of 90,000 pesos. Pag na-deduct natin to, makukuha na natin si taxable income. Once we determine already the taxable income, we can compute now our income tax, the income tax due rather, by multiplying it with the graduated income tax rate, which is found under Section 24A2A of the tax code. Then we deduct the withholding on compensation. Yung na-withheld sa atin ng ating employers, i-deduct natin doon. So makikita na natin kung tayo ay may refundable o merong babayaran. That is in the case of pure compensation income earners. Next. Next. Alright. So ito yung sinasabi kong tax table. Itong tax table na ito ay bago at ito ay effective lang hanggang December 31, 2022. Sa 2023, magkakameron na naman tayo ng bagong tax table. Na makikita natin dito sa tax table na to, na yung first 250,000 taxable income is subject to 0%. Meaning, wala kang babayaran pag ang taxable income, as in taxable na after deducting all these deductions na sinabi ko kanina, yung first 250,000 will be subject, is not exempt, but 0%, meaning may rate siya, kaya lang siya ay 0. So doon na lang sa susunod na layer, doon na mag-i-start yung 20, 25, 30, 32, and the highest is 35. So yan ang paraan ngayon ng pagko-compute ng income tax ng mga ng pure compensation income earners. Next.
Ayan.
Now, in the case of minimum wage earners, yung bang minimum wage earners subject to income tax? No. Under the law, under Republic Act 9504, minimum wage earners are exempt from income tax. So, paano natin madidetermine kung ang isang tao ay minimum wage earner? Kung ang kita niya sa daily wage niya ay the statutory minimum wage. Paano natin siya malalaman? Sa bawat region, sa buong Pilipinas, mayroon sariling statutory minimum wage. Dito sa NCR, ang minimum wage natin dito ay 537. So kung ang sinusweldo ng isang tao ay 537, siya ay isang minimum wage earner. So wala siyang babayarang income tax. Now, hindi lang sa statutory minimum wage ang exempt, but including the overtime pay, the holiday pay, the hazard pay, and the night shift differential pay. So lahat ng kikitain niya dito ay exempt sa income tax. Now, next. Meron ba?
Ayan, yung
Nugget.
self-employed.
Okay. Okay, Nugget. Gusto ko lang linawin minimum wage earner kung totally exempt siya sa income tax. Si minimum wage earner kasi pwedeng meron siyang kitain na taxable income like kung kumikita siya ng commission, that is a taxable income dahil hindi siya kasama doon sa sinabi nating 5. Okay? So,
Okay.
kung kumita siya kunyari ng, sa buong isang taon ng 200,000, it's a taxable income. Now, will he be subject to income tax? Hindi pa rin. Why? Kasi nandun pa lang sa first layer na the first 250,000 is subject to 0%. Di ba? So kung 200,000 lang ang kanyang commission, wala pa siyang babayarang income tax.
Exempt.
Okay.
So kung sumobra na siya, kunyari 300,000 pala ang kinita niya sa commission niya, babayaran niya ba yung buong 300,000? No, the first 250,000 is 0. So doon lang siya mag-start sa 50,000 times 20%. So yun lang ang babayaran niya.
Ganun pala yun.
Ayan.
So,
Ganun lang.
attorney, may tanong ako. Attorney, hindi siya magbabayad ng income tax. Pero, mag-ano pa rin ba siya ng form? Magsasubmit sa
Hindi.
BIR? Hindi
Kasi,
na rin.
Kasi si minimum wage earner ay isang empleyado. So lahat ng exempt, nagpa-file naman si employer lahat nito. So meron silang file na 1604CF plus yung kanilang 2316, pinafile din ni BIR, ay ni employer kay BIR. So kasama na siya doon sa pinafile na yun. And parang nandun sila sa substituted filing na hindi na kailangan mag-file ng income tax return.
I see.
At yung
So,
form na yun. Yes.
Sige.
Yes.
So, yung, mauna lang ako, Attorney Dwight, ha?
Okay.
Yung, di ba meron siyang, halimbawa, 250, kumita siya ng 250, hindi yon taxable. Kung nagkaroon siya ng commission na, halimbawa, yung sinabi nyo kanina, na halimbawa 300, yung 250, pero may basic pay pa siya eh. May basic pay pa siya, attorney. Tapos, nagkaroon siya ng commission na 300,000. So, yung basic pay niya plus 300,000, yung umexcess doon sa 250 na nasa bracket, yun yung babayaran niya.
Yun yung first 250, walang bayad.
Okay.
Yun lang kung 50,000, yun yung masasubject sa 20% income tax.
Tapos, which means kung meron siyang, nag-withdraw, ano ba tawag doon?
Withholding.
Tax withdrawal. Withholding, I'm sorry. Withholding tax. At kinuha na yon ng kumpanya, hindi na rin siya magpapile.
Actually, hindi po siya withholdan ni company kasi nga po siya ay exempt.
Yes.
Hindi siya withholdan. Yan.
Siya talaga yung magbabayad.
Ang isang regular employee na kumikita ng 250,000 ay 0%, di ba? Kaya ang isang empleyado na yung regular, hindi minimum wage earner, na kumikita ng 685 pesos a day, hindi po yan wini-withholdan ng employer. Kasi nga, at the end of the year, wala siyang babayarang income tax.
Exempt siya.
Exempt siya. So, 685 a day na empleyado ay hindi nasa-subject sa withholding tax. Kaya si minimum wage earner, totally, hindi siya nasa-subject sa withholding tax.
Yes.
In other words, attorney, pag hindi, ako minimum wage earner ako, hindi ako wala akong withholding tax. Hindi ako nagbabayad ng tax. Paano ako nagko-contribute sa pamahalaan? Ano yung share ko sa growth ng pamahalaan, sa development ng pamahalaan? Yung VAT ba yun?
Kasi po, kinoconsider ng batas na yung isang minimum wage earner, napakahirap na niya. Dahil sa ating mga bilihin ngayon, hindi na natin kayang bumili ng so much. So kung kumikita tayo ng 537 a day and we have 4 children, saan natin anong makikita? Kaya kaya in-exempt ang mga minimum wage earners sa income tax.
Yan.
Pero pag may bibilhin ho sila na meron ding tax na
Yun naman
nakapasok,
po, but
doon sila nagko-contribute.
doon sila
Sa
nag-contribute, but yun naman ay kasama talaga sa presyo noong binibili
Opo.
natin. Ano.
Oo.
Kasi hindi
Yeah.
naman lahat ng bilihin natin ay mayroong VAT. Meron lang
Yeah.
VAT, meron walang VAT.
Mhm.
Okay.
Attorney
Moving
Dwight?
forward- Yes, moving forward, doon pa sa purely compensation income ang earning niya. Is there any other consideration, Attorney Frosi, in computing?
In computing.
Yes.
Kanina sinabi ko na
Yan.
are we talking of pure compensation income earners or self-employed?
Purely self-employed naman.
Purely self-employed. Okay. Let's go to the purely self-employed individuals and professionals. Sino ba ang mga ito? Ito yung may business. These are the ones who are engaged in business or practice of profession. Now, doon sa train law, mayroong bagong tax regime na naman. Ngayon lang to in-introduce sa train law ng isang purely self-employed individual and a professional whose gross sales or gross receipts do not exceed 3 million pesos can elect to pay the income tax by just using one tax rate, and this is the 8% flat income tax rate. Okay? That is in excess of 250,000, meaning since the basis of this is whether or not the self-employed is his gross income or gross receipts exceeds or not exceed 3 million pesos. So in this case, yung ina-allow na gumamit ng 8% flat income tax rate ay yung whose gross sales or receipts do not exceed 3 million pesos. Now, sabi dito, in excess of 250,000. So if your gross sales or receipts do not exceed 3 million pesos, you can still deduct the 250,000. So your tax base is 2,750,000, and you multiply it by 8. That's the only tax that you need to pay. You don't even need to pay your percentage tax because that 8% is in lieu of the graduated income tax rate and also the 3% percentage tax. Now, if you opt to use this graduated tax table, yung kaninang pinakita natin na pataas ng pataas hanggang 35%, then you still need to pay the 3% other percentage tax other than the income tax of using the graduated income tax rate.
Yeah.
Diyos ko. Alam mo,
So-
Attorney Dwight, ang dami nating dapat itanong kay attorney. Baka merong mga tanong ang ating viewers. Ito konti na lang ang ating time. Tingnan
Yeah,
nga
but
natin kung merong tanong.
Yeah, but before that, of course, we talked about the purely compensation, tapos yung self-employed. Ano naman kung mixed? Attorney.
Okay. We go to the mixed income earner. Yun namang mixed income earner, sila yung may dalawang klaseng income. Meron silang compensation income, meron din silang income from the practice of profession or on their business. Okay? So, iba ang pagko-compute nito. In all cases, yung compensation income, ginagamit natin si graduated tax table, yung kanina. Kasi compensation income yun. And gagamitin natin yung first 150,000 is zero. Okay? So, nandun yun sa compensation income. But for the business income, mag-apply din dito is your gross sales or receipt, does your gross sales is over 3 million pesos or not? So if it's less than 3 million pesos, you can also use the 8%, but only insofar as your income from the practice of profession or from your business is concerned. Hindi kasama si compensation income. And the difference between this one, in the mixed income earner and the purely self-employed is here, we cannot deduct anymore the 250,000 doon sa ating gross sales or gross receipts. What is the reason? The reason is because we have already used the 250,000 in our compensation income. So here we determine separately the income tax. The income tax for the compensation and the income tax for the practice of profession or engaging in business. Magkaiba sila. Okay? So,
Magkaiba din po ang form. Magkaiba din po ang form.
Magkaiba din po ang form. Pag ginagamit natin si 8%, ang form po na ginagamit sa annual income tax return ay 1701A. May letter A sa dulo. Whereas yung hindi gumagamit ng 8%, it's 1701. Yan po. Iba-iba po ang form na ginagamit.
Marami pa tayong kailangan malaman, Attorney Dwight. Siguro ikaw mas alam mo. Kaya lang, wala na tayong time.
Oo nga eh. But very shortly na lang, Attorney Frozy, is it safe to say na every worker should pay the income tax or should file the income tax return?
Well, it depends on whether the taxpayer is required, under the law, is required or not required to file the income tax return. Now, every resident citizen is required to file an income tax return on the income he derives within and without the Philippines. Yun, pag ikaw ay isang resident citizen, dito ka naninirahan talaga. Yung income mo, wherever situated or wherever you get your income, you have to file an income tax return. Now, so what about the non-resident citizens? In the case of non-resident citizens, he is required to file his income tax return only on the income he derives within the Philippines. So, kaya nga siya non-resident citizen, nandun siya sa abroad. So, ang kinikita niya sa abroad, hindi kailangan filean ng income tax return. What about the resident alien? He is also required to file his income tax return on the income derived from within the Philippines. Wala tayong pakialam sa income niya, derived niya sa abroad because he is an alien. And what about the non-resident alien engaged in trade or business? Just like a resident alien, he is only required to file his income tax return on the income he derives within the Philippines. Now, so who are those individuals who are not required to file an income tax return? Kanina nabanggit ko na yung substituted filing. Okay? So, pag you are qualified to the substituted filing, hindi ka na nagpa-file ng return because, what is the reason? Because the government has already collected all your taxes, all the tax that you need to pay. Why? Because you have been subjected to the withholding tax by your employer. So why is there a need to file more for your income tax return? Next, a minimum wage earner. Why? He's not required because he is exempt from income tax. And that's the favor that we can give to the minimum wage earner because they are exempt from income tax. What about senior citizens? Most of the time, some senior citizens would ask me, "Uy, hindi na ako magpa-file ng income tax return na." Sabi ko, bakit? Di ba nagpa-practice ka? Oo, senior na ako. No, not all senior citizens should not file their income tax return. You're only exempt to file your income tax return if your income is just like the income of a minimum wage earner. You are an employee whose income is just like the income of the minimum wage earner. That's the only time that you are exempt from filing the income tax return. What about the sole, where your sole income is subject to the final withholding tax? Like, meron tayo mga deposit sa banko and withholding tayo ng bank, which is subject to the 20% final withholding tax. We don't need to get the records of the bank and include it in our income tax return. Why? Because that has been subject to the final withholding tax, and a final withholding tax is a final tax. Kaya sinasabing final withholding tax, that is a final tax. And it's not our obligation to file anything because it is the withholding agent, which is the bank, who does it for us. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But so what about the non-resident citizens? you're not required to file income tax return kasi wala naman sila dito, di ba? So pero kung meron silang business dito, yun, kailangan filean nila ng income tax return. And the non-resident alien who is not engaged in trade or business in the Philippines, they are not required to file income tax return because even if they derive income within the Philippines, sino ang nagpo-collect ng tax nila? It is the withholding agent. Kung sino man yung ka-deal nila, kasi sila ay non-resident citizen alien, wala silang residence here. So, like yung mga singers abroad, pumupunta dito, 4 days lang, they earn a lot. But we do not require them to file income tax return. Why? Because it is the promoter who is the withholding agent here. And they are the ones who file the withholding tax for any in behalf of the non-resident alien.
Ayan.
Thank you.
Evelyn. So I think that really sums up, no? The entire marami pa tayo
Nako.
usapan, marami pang tanong, but I guess we lack the time kasi, Miss Evelyn?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So therefore, we would like to thank you so much, Attorney Frosi, for being with us tonight. Marami kaming natutunan. At alam ko, maraming tanong ang ating mga viewers. Pero unfortunately, sorry, hindi natin masasagot ngayon. At yung mga shoutouts nila, hindi natin mababasa. Sayang naman. Pero maraming salamat sa ating mga tagapakinig at saka sa ating viewers. Attorney Frosi, thank you so much. Attorney Dwight?
Yes, and thank you to the UST Alumni Association, the UST Law Alumni Foundation, and also the Accounting and Alumni Association. And to all alumni, follow us on Facebook at UST Alumni Association Inc. and visit our website at UST Alumni Association, and please like and share our pages. Now support the Thomasian Alumni Community Exchange, the online marketplace where Thomasian alumni sellers and buyers meet. And of course, we have two special items.
And of course,
go ahead, Miss Evelyn.
Yeah, and of course, we would like to thank the College of Accountancy Alumni Association, headed by Mr. Louis Turgo. Salamat for sponsoring this show tonight. And we have two special items, the Cargasus, a beautiful storybook for young and old alike, written by Father Edgardo Alaurin, OP, Regent of the College of Fine Arts and Design. It features beautiful paintings. We also have a set of Katinko products in beautifully painted wooden box. Okay?
Yes.
And of course, thank you to our BOT members and to all the volunteers of the association and to all the staff of the RCBC. Maraming salamat sa inyo. Join us on Sunday, March 28 at 6 p.m. Ito, marami na naman tayong natututunan. Alamin natin kung saan may libreng legal assistance at kung paano ito makukuha. Ang guest natin next time will be the President of the Civil Law Alumni Foundation, si Attorney Maria Elenita Francisco. Diba?
Yes.
And she is also the President of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines, Manila Chapter. Attorney Dwight?
Yes, and thank you everyone for joining us this evening here at Bridges. We do not build walls, we build connections of learning. We build connections of people. Goodbye.
And here at CBRC, we build bridges of faith, bridges of hope, and bridges of love. Thank you very much to all our viewers. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Good night. Welcome to Bridges here at CBRC.tv. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all our viewers around the world.
Hi, good evening, Dr. Evelyn Songko at sa mga viewers ng ating Bridges. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Again.
Another
And hello, good evening, good morning, or good afternoon to our viewers on Bridges here on CBRC.TV.